All right, let's dive into this really powerful way of thinking about why companies actually succeed or fail. And spoiler alert, it's not just about having the best strategy or the slickest org chart. Nope, it's about something much, much deeper.
You know that feeling, right? It's a classic frustration for pretty much any leader. You feel like you're a mechanic. You're fine-tuning an engine. You're pulling all the right levers, but the car just won't go any faster. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. And it turns out you might be fixing the wrong thing entirely.
So the core of the problem is something we can call the Cartesian error. It's this idea we've all been taught that our companies are basically machines. We think if we just tweak a gear here or oil a part there, everything is going to run smoothly. But that fundamental metaphor, it's just plain wrong.
And this way of thinking leads us straight into the illusion of control, where all our actions feel really productive, but they don't actually produce any results.
Think about it. When growth stalls, our instinct is to pull the levers we can see, right? We change the strategy, we redraw the structure, we buy new systems. These are what we call the hard S's. But so often, nothing really changes. The gears are spinning like crazy, but the vehicle isn't moving an inch. That's because the real friction isn't in the machine's design, it's in the chemistry of the people inside it. So let's try a much more powerful metaphor. Your company isn't a machine at all. It's a living, breathing organism. And this slide just shows that mindset shift perfectly. Instead of seeing a bunch of isolated parts on a circuit board, we need to see an interconnected web. A company has a memory, right? It has an immune system that attacks foreign ideas, and it definitely has a nervous system that transmits anxiety faster than any messaging app you've ever seen.
This is the crucial point. You can't change one part in isolation. You just can't. You can't alter your strategy without putting tension on your team's existing skills. You can't just flatten your structure without totally disrupting your leadership style. The whole system feels it every single time.
Okay, so let's break down the anatomy of this organism. It really has two distinct but deeply connected parts. It has a skeleton and it has a soul. The skeleton is made up of those hard S's, the tangible things, your strategy documents, your org chart. They provide the potential for performance. But the soul, that's the intangible stuff, the soft S's, like your values and your culture. That's what provides the actual kinetic energy. A skeleton without a soul is just a fossil. And here they are, the 7 elements. This skeleton is your strategy, structure, and systems. The soul is your shared values, style, staff, and skills. And just notice how shared values sits right there in the middle, anchoring everything else. That's not an accident. So, with this framework, we can finally diagnose why things go wrong. We can start to see what happens when a company's skeleton and its soul are basically at war with each other. Let's look at a classic startup scenario. It's honestly one of the most dangerous moments for a young company. And strangely enough, it happens right after their greatest success. So, picture this. The company just raised a massive round of funding, $50 million. They double their headcount in just 6 months. The strategy is all about aggressive growth. On paper, they have built the perfect skeleton.
And then, suddenly, shipping a simple feature takes 3 times as long. Decisions get bogged down in endless meetings. The founder is tearing their hair out wondering, why is everyone so slow all of a sudden?
The diagnosis isn't incompetence, it's the collapse of the oral tradition. See, in the early days, the company's culture, its soul, was transmitted by osmosis. Everyone was in the same room, they just got it. But when you scale the skeleton by hiring 50 new people, you completely break that osmosis. The implicit rules, the way things are really done, they just get lost. And look, this isn't an isolated problem. This exact same misalignment explains why so many company pivots fail. The strategy on paper changes, but the team's muscle memory is stuck in the old way of doing things. It also explains why mergers turn toxic. The org charts combine just fine, but the company cultures underneath declare all-out war. So, how do we fix this? The solution requires a pretty big shift in your role as a leader. You're no longer a mechanic fixing a machine. You are now a gardener, tending an ecosystem. This quote just says it all, doesn't it? You can't force alignment with a mandate or another reorg. You'll just sever the roots. Instead, you have to create the conditions where alignment becomes almost inevitable. And there's a right way to do it. The law of sequencing is absolutely critical here. Ideology must precede architecture. You have to work on the soul before you start rearranging the skeleton.
And here's the practical path to follow. First, you prepare the soil by re-anchoring your shared values. Then you clarify the strategy. Then you have to honestly audit if you have the right skills and the right staff. And only after all of that do you design the structure and tune the systems to support this new reality.
So the final takeaway is this. That feeling of frustration, of things being slow, of projects stalling, that's not failure. Not at all. It's information. It's the web vibrating, telling you exactly where the tension is between your company's skeleton and its soul. So look at your own organization. Don't look at the slide deck or the org chart. Look at the silence in the meeting room, the decisions that get made when you're not there. That friction is your map. So what is it telling you? You have the blueprint now. The rest? Well, the rest is gardening.